So your customer has a problem. They were using their friend's laptop and they absolutely fell in love with a touchpad, a way to give input into the system. Another one of your clients just said that they absolutely have to have a webcam like they enjoy on their friend's PC, but they don't have one. These are all examples of common peripherals that we can attach to machines to make sure their users are happy. In this nugget, we'll take a look at a variety of input and output devices that we should be familiar with as CompTIA A+ technicians. Now, this nugget might be interesting to you because we might hit a couple of peripheral devices that you hadn't heard of before. And that's really important that we make you aware of those in case you're asked about them in the exam environment. But what I really wanted to start with here is perhaps the most important bit, and that is, how would you install a device? Really, it's going to come down to three things. Maybe they say, okay, if you're on Windows 7 or Windows 8 or Windows 10, just plug the device in, and plug and play will work with those operating systems as an example. And if you were to go into Control Panel and go and view devices and printers, you would see that the device is in there and that any drivers that make the device work were automatically installed and configured. So that's great. Plug and play is excellent. It used to be not so good. We used to call it plug and pray because many times it would not function as advertised. So that's option one, plug and play, and we love that. Option two might be that it comes with a DVD or CD-ROM, and it'll literally say, install me first. You have to install the drivers from the media they give you, and that can be challenging sometimes when you're dealing with a device that doesn't have an optical drive. So it's always great to have one of those externally via USB that you can connect to one of these devices. The third option, and this is getting very popular today, is they'll tell you to go to a website. Download the drivers from the website and then plug in the device so it installs correctly. So I bet you know about these common peripherals already. These are in the input category. We have my favorite, the mouse, my second favorite, the keyboard. I am a mouse and keyboard user, big time. I don't like touchpads. I don't like track wheels. Give me a good, comfortable mouse and a keyboard, and I'm ready to go. A scanner is awesome for taking in documents and converting them to pictures, and we often have this functionality, of course, in printers today. These are multi-function devices, and we have a nugget dedicated to those in this series. A barcode reader might be inserted into your device so that you can scan very efficiently barcodes to get product information. Of course, a microphone is typically built into your device, but many times we'll add a better one, as I have done so that I could record this nugget for you. I'm not going to use the built-in microphone on my Cintiq Companion because the audio would be terrible. So we've got a good rich audio sound here in this nugget thanks to a peripheral, a Shure microphone that I have plugged in. And then how about biometric devices? This is a great little example of an older Microsoft fingerprint scanner. What a great way to get you into your device. You touch this with your fingerprint, it recognizes you, and then logs you right into Windows. This functionality does exist built into Windows 10 for your device to accept biometric information. You just got to go in and make sure that it's turned on when you add a biometric device. Just to prove that to you, I've gone and searched my system for the word services, and that brings up this services app in Windows 10. If you scroll down, you'll see you have the Windows Biometric Service. It's not running right now. It's triggered to automatically start when we have a biometric device inserted. We could manually start this service by right-clicking it and choosing Start, but I won't because I don't have a biometric device attached. You get the idea, though. There's all kinds of cool services laying in here for specific peripheral devices that you might one day attach. Are there even more input peripherals? Well, you betcha. How about a gamepad to turn your PC into an Xbox-like experience, or a joystick? What if you want to write on screen like I get to do all the time here at CBT Nuggets? You get a digitizer. You can get one like a Wacom tablet that sits right next to your device. You get out this nice cool pen and you're writing on that device, and your writing appears on screen just as it did then. And look at, I'm such a masterful artist. How about a motion sensor so that you can have your PC send alerts when someone walks into a certain area? A touchpad is a beautiful device for some people. I don't care for them. You'll see this often on laptops, for instance. So we have our keyboard right here, and then there'll be this square touchpad allowing you to scroll and zoom and do all kinds of gestures with your fingers in order to control the cursor on screen. By the way, if the cursor is acting up, we'll talk about this in troubleshooting, it's often an issue with the touchpad. So the person might not even use their touchpad, but the touchpad is malfunctioning, and that's causing the cursor to go crazy on screen. There's a really cool security thing that we can do with devices, and that's install a smart card reader depicted here. This is like ATM style security. You know, with your bank, you have an ATM card, and it's dual factor authentication. You have to have something, the card itself, and you need to stick it into the ATM, and then you need to know something, a secret PIN. Well, with a smart card reader, you do the same thing with your personal computer. You have to possess a smart card, and then you must know a password that goes with that smart card in order to access the device. Are there even more input peripherals? Well, yes, there are. How about a digital camera? How about a webcam that we could connect to a device? A camcorder that connects to the PC in order to transfer video? Or all kinds of music devices. Music devices often have MIDI technology. That stands for Musical Instrument Digital Interface, and it's an industry specification that allows these instruments to play directly into the personal computer device. Here you can see an example of DJ equipment that connects to devices through a MIDI interface. And when you're DJing, always remember to put scotch on the rocks right next to all of this expensive equipment. What about output devices that are common peripherals we might add today? Well, we have many nuggets dealing with printers. Of course, that's a great example. We talk speakers and audio technology in this course, and then a lot of information here about display devices. This is the latest thing I'm seeing around the CBT Nugget offices. Everybody's starting to pick up these very large curved displays. Do I want one of those for my Microsoft Flight Simulator setup? You betcha. And some common peripherals we use today actually fall into the category of being both input and output devices at the same time. How about a touch screen? Sure, that's giving you output, but it's also accepting input as you touch the screen. Many personal computing devices sold today have touch functionality built in. That's what Microsoft was planning on when they created that Metro design for Windows 8. Unfortunately, it kind of blew up in their face because those that weren't utilizing touch devices at the time were very annoyed with that interface. Now with Windows 10, as you know, you have the choice. You can have your perfectly normal, non-touch oriented desktop, or you can turn on a more touch-centric interface. The KVM is what I've depicted here. This is keyboard, video, and mouse. This is a device that you would install in a rack where you have a bunch of those rack-mounted servers that we've discussed so much in this course. And this is how you can bring up the video for any one of those, or control the keyboard or the mouse for any one of those servers. So it's a central way to get all of the keyboard, video, and mouses connected in a big rack, and then you can just switch which one you want to speak to. Pretty cool stuff. A smart TV would certainly fall into the category of both input and output. The latest smart TV from Apple connects to your standard television and gives it smart functionality. For instance, there's Siri there now, so you can pick up your television remote, specifically your Apple television remote. You can hold down a microphone and you can say, "Show me movies that star Vince Vaughn." Or you could say, "What's the weather going to be tomorrow?" And now your television has grown smart thanks to that added functionality. And don't forget about set-top boxes. These we typically get from our cable provider, and they more so than ever today are turning our televisions into smart devices. You can say things like, "I don't care when it happens, record The Walking Dead. Whenever a new episode of The Walking Dead emerges from the ground to crawl into our living room and bite us, I want it recorded and stored for us so we can watch it at a later time." So let's wrap this nugget up with a little pop quiz. And what I did here was I tried to find the common peripherals that weren't all that common. Maybe you didn't know them by these terms, so I tried to make this as difficult as possible for you in a nugget that was clearly pretty simple and straightforward. So we begin with digitizer, then we have KVM, then biometric device, then MIDI. The terms that coordinate with these on the right-hand side are retina scan, learn guitar, paint in Photoshop, or accommodate rack servers. So we got to play a little match game here. Well, retina scan. The retina is in your eyeball, isn't it? And this would be an example of a biometric device. Yeah, like a fingerprint, your eye can uniquely identify you. So a retina scanner would be biometric device type peripheral. How about learn guitar? Yeah, we remember that musical instruments can be digitized with MIDI technology. Painting in Photoshop could be done with the digitizer that takes our pen strokes and converts them on screen for us. And finally, the keyboard, video, and mouse switch functionality would be found in a rack server type of environment where each of those servers is not going to possess its own keyboard and video and mouse. So we make all those connections to a central switch. We just have one physical keyboard, mouse, and video screen, and we can access any of those rack servers just by punching the appropriate button on the KVM switch. So there are many common peripherals today for input and output, and both input and output simultaneously. We didn't even get to the wonderful graphic here of virtual reality goggles. That wasn't mentioned. I guess it's not common enough yet for CompTIA to include it, but it does remind us that more technologies are on the way that will allow us to interact with our devices in brand new ways, and we really look forward to that future. I sure hope this nugget was informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.